Congratulations! You're in the market to buy a new home, but do you know what some hidden costs are? Watch this video to find out. I'm Lillian Morrow, a realtor with John L. Scott Real Estate in Puyallup, Washington. Let's talk about some hidden costs to buying a home. If you're planning to buy a home, but you haven't talked with the lender yet, you're going to want to do that first thing. You want to be sure that you know how much home you can afford and how much you need to save for closing costs and down payment. Homeownership gets pricey right up front, but when you compare it to renting, it's most likely still the better deal. As rents continue to go up, you are out more and more money each month. But once you buy a home, if interest rates and home prices go up, you are most likely all set. If you have a fixed interest rate, you are locked in, and as the interest rates go higher, you are safe from those increases. And as home prices appreciate, you are gaining more equity in your home. So if and when you sell your home, that equity is yours and you can possibly use it for a home equity loan while you still own the home. If interest rates go down significantly, you may also have the opportunity to refinance to take advantage of the new lower rates. If you don't already have a lender in mind, your real estate agent or broker can help you with that. You'll want to find an agent early on in the process to help guide you through it. And that is the one thing in most cases a buyer does not pay for. Typically, the seller will pay for the buyer's agent's commission. There are some exceptions, so discuss that with your agent or broker. What are the hidden costs to homeownership then? In most cases, these costs really aren't hidden, but they are costs that don't immediately come to mind when someone thinks about buying a home, especially if you're a first-time buyer. So number one is closing costs. Most people know they will need a down payment when they buy a home, unless you're getting a VA loan or some other no down payment type loan. But for the most part, you'll need some kind of down payment. But what buyers may not realize is that there's other costs due when you sign the papers and close on a home. These are the closing costs, and they are above and beyond the down payment, and in most cases, they are going to be paid at closing. They include things like escrow fees, loan fees, prorated property taxes, prorated HOA fees, title insurance, homeowner's insurance, and more, depending on where you are and what home you're buying. Closing costs are something else you should discuss with your lender. They can estimate how much cash you will need to bring to the closing table. Number two of the hidden costs is earnest money. Again, not really a hidden cost, but one that you may not be aware of. This is most likely the first payment you will make toward your home. It's a deposit to show that you are serious about buying the home that you have agreed to buy. It offers the seller some compensation if you back out of the transaction without a valid reason. Once you have mutual acceptance with the sellers to purchase their home, you will provide them with the earnest money deposit. Typically, you will pay it to the escrow company who will then hold it until closing. In today's market in our area, earnest money is usually paid within 1 to 3 days of mutual acceptance. When the transaction closes, your earnest money will then go toward the closing costs. Although earnest money is not legally required in Washington State to buy a home, a buyer will typically offer an earnest money deposit of 1 to 3% of the purchase price, and sometimes even higher. If a buyer fails to perform as noted in the mutually accepted purchase and sale agreement, and the transaction does not close, it is possible that they could lose their earnest money. The most a seller can keep in damages if a buyer defaults in Washington State is 5% of the purchase price. Your broker or agent should help guide you through the transaction process to be sure that you meet all contingency requirements and deadlines to reduce the risks of losing your earnest money. But if you decide to back out of the transaction for a reason not covered by your contract, the seller may be entitled to keep your earnest money. The third hidden cost is property taxes. Property taxes are used to fund essential government services such as schools, fire department, police departments, and more. You may pay some prorated property taxes at closing, depending on the time of year you buy your home, but sadly, taxes are not a one-time payment with home ownership. They are annual. When you finance your home, a portion of your property taxes will typically be included as part of your mortgage payment each month, and your lender will pay them when they are due. Property taxes will fluctuate depending on the state, county, and city where you live. In Washington State, the first half of the annual property tax is due April 30th, and the second half is due October 31st. The fourth hidden cost that buyers may not think of is utility payments. If you are a first-time buyer and have only lived with your parents or rented historically, you may not have had to worry about paying utilities. Utilities consist of things like electricity, natural gas, water, sewer, internet, cable, garbage, and possibly others depending where you live. If you have only rented in the past, some or all of these might have been included in your monthly rent. As a homeowner, though, you will be responsible for all of the utilities in your home outside of your mortgage payment, so be sure to budget for them. The fifth potential hidden cost is moving costs. Whether you are moving across town or across the country, you are likely to have some moving costs. If you are recruiting friends and family to help you move and you're borrowing their trucks, it may be as simple as providing beer and pizza for everyone that helped after the job is done. If you don't have trucks, you can rent moving trucks, and depending on your situation, you may even need to pay a moving company to do all of the moving for you. That can cost a pretty good chunk of change. It's a good idea to think about what works for you and how much you will need to set aside at the beginning of the process. Number 6 is homeowners insurance. You most likely paid for at least a year of homeowners insurance at closing, but this is another annual expense. It will be required by your lender if you have a mortgage, and even if you can pay cash for your home, it's still a really good idea to have homeowners insurance to cover things like fire or flood or burglary. The cost and the specific coverage you need will depend on what company you go with, what coverage you want or need, the home itself, and the area around the home. For example, if you are in a flood zone, you may need to purchase additional flood insurance. As with property taxes, if you have a mortgage, a portion of your monthly payment will typically go towards the homeowner's insurance, and your mortgage company will pay it when it's due. The number 7 hidden cost is repairs and home maintenance. As a homeowner, you will be responsible for things that get damaged or broke in your home. If your furnace stops working, it's on you. If a window gets broke, it's your responsibility to fix. It is possible that your homeowner's insurance will cover some of these things, like a broken window, or maybe if a floor gets damaged from a dishwasher leak, but it depends on your policy coverage, and it could raise your insurance rates if you do file a claim. An option to help with things like heating and cooling systems and appliances that break down is to buy a home warranty. If you have a home warranty, then if a covered item breaks down and meets the coverage requirements, the warranty may cover the cost of repair or replacement of that item. But if you do purchase a home warranty, you will then need to budget for the cost of the home warranty policy. Home maintenance is another cost. Homes need regular maintenance. Not only regular things like yard maintenance, which means you may need to purchase a lawnmower and maybe an edger and some other tools, but you'll also have upgrades as well over time. Homes need to be painted on occasion, or you may want to update a kitchen or bathroom, or a fence may need to be built or replaced. You may not need to do the more expensive things right away, but there is a chance you will need to do them at some point, so it's a good idea to plan for them ahead of time. And number 8, you are most likely going to want to buy new stuff. Whether you have all the furniture, kitchen items, and linens that you think you need, you will probably want to buy some new things for your new home. Maybe there is a wall that needs artwork that you don't have anything for, or you need an area rug, or you might want some new outdoor furniture for that great patio your new home has. There's going to be something that you want to buy. Try to keep that in mind while you are determining how much you can afford. It's a good idea to make sure that you'll have a little money to use for things you want. It might mean that you need to save up for a few months for larger priced items, but if you have a little extra each month to put away, that might be enough. And another one I just thought of is to make sure that you have something put aside for those unexpected emergencies. Something will always come up, so it's really good to have something in place so you don't have to struggle to find some additional income when the time comes. Remember, when you plan to buy a home, your mortgage payment will most likely be the most expensive part about it, but don't forget about these other expenses. They can make a difference in how much you can afford for a home. For more details about buying a home, check out my home buyer playlist for other videos, like this one noted here. Thanks so much for joining me today. Please hit that subscribe button and click the little bell so you will get notified when new videos are available. See you next time.